Now, disgruntled community members in Naledi, Soweto are demanding the closure of all Spaza shops in that area until they're fully inspected for compliance. It comes after the death of 5 children due to the suspected poisoned food bought from one of the local Spaza shops on Sunday. To weigh in on the matter, ATM National Spokesperson Zama Ntshona joins us to discuss this. Zama, very good evening to you. Thank you for your time. Just going through your statement, I know that you've strongly condemned what you've described as government's ongoing negligence in this matter, because we know that this tragedy is not an isolated incident.
Thank you so much. Good evening to you and the viewers. Most definitely, this issue is not an isolated incident. When you go back and you review some of the reports on the matter, you will see, going back to the 5th administration between 2013 and 2017, it became clear that South Africa is dealing with a numerous number of outbreaks. To be more exact, there were 327 in that given period, and 11,000 people, more than 11,000 people were affected by those. And you would think that the 5th administration would have dealt with this, built walls around the health system so that we are able to protect South Africans from this pandemic. No, when you get to the 6th administration, in a period between 2018 and 2020, we saw 338 outbreaks of similar occurrences. And what is worse about these numbers is that only 38% of those numbers were actually thoroughly investigated, in fact investigated, and then only 11% of that was thoroughly and adequately investigated, which speaks to the inadequacies of government to actually follow up on this matter. And if we can't investigate it, if we can't document it properly, if we are not able to investigate it to a point where we find recommendations that would hinder this from happening, it will happen in Tanzania as it has happened last week. Now it is happening in Soweto. So truly for us, this is government caught napping. The government is negligent, and they are playing with people's lives.
Yeah. With that, what kind of strategies do you think government should be putting in place to combat the prevalence of poisonous food in communities? Because one is one too many. We're seeing so much of these stories coming out. And of course, one has to question where the loopholes lie and why we're not seeing the enforcement of food safety regulations on a stricter basis.
Thank you so much. South Africa has been demarcated in this particular way. You have about 24,000 VDs. On top of that, you're going to have 4,484 wards, 247 municipalities, 9 provincial governments, and then the national government. Now, if you are not going to mend every demarcated space with a functional program, you're not going to be able to deal with this issue. And with environmental health practitioners who are still in the outskirts of participations, though qualified, you will never have enough manpower to mend this issue. This issue is a critical issue that needs to be dealt with. So if you are going to fashion a strategy, comprehensive strategy to deal with this, there must not be a VD that is not accounted for. And if you can start there, then you are now on your way towards addressing this issue. But you must go further. You must speak about manufacturing and issues of monitoring. You must speak about distribution and issues of monitoring. You must speak about those who then buy the end product. Now, when an outbreak has come, it becomes critical for you to trace back where was it manufactured, who bought the material, where was it distributed? Because one of the things that are clearly shown by the report is that there is underreporting of epic proportions. So there could be more cases out there that have not been taken care of and not been investigated, nor reported, nor reflected in the stats. As a result, we will be now finding ourselves in the underreporting of epic proportions. So very important that when an outbreak has come to the fore, we must trace back to where it was manufactured, who bought, where did they go, and follow up on those communities. And also very important, it is about time that we do not just wake up with containers all over the place, and we do not know who is this person and why is this person here. If you are going to deal with this issue of uprooting this phenomenon of having unlicensed and unregistered, they have not been given the stamp of approval by the Bureau of Standards in South Africa, you need to be speaking to issues of monitoring to every VD.
It's an important aspect that you raise. I mean, being given the stamp of authority, because of course there are many food safety regulations that need to be adhered to. Who then do we hold to account? Because these regulations need to be enforced.
Thank you so much. At the primary level, we must be looking at the manufacturers, distributors, and the outlets. But when it comes to issues of monitoring, we must now move to the accounting officers and even the political heads. Because I think truly that this is an issue of where there is no political will to deal with an issue of this nature, it is not going to be dealt with. I think we are getting to a point as the African Transformation Movement where we are beginning to say it must not only be an issue of saying take the license away from a hawker, discontinue that particular manufacturer, or name and shame industries or companies or manufacturers that have actually produced goods that are below par. But we must begin now to say, under whose watch did this occur? And is that individual taking responsibility for the inadequacies of the system under their watch? The African Transformation Movement wants to see this escalating to the accounting officers and the political heads, because under their watch, we are losing hundreds and hundreds of South Africans, and it becomes very painful when it is children.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for weighing in on this discussion. Let's leave it there for now. ATM National Spokesperson Zama Ntshona speaking there about the several tuck shops that have been closed down by residents in Naledi, Soweto, after children have been killed.